Friday. Sun's about ready to go down here, sunset time in the Pacific Northwest. And it's good to be home. I missed you guys. Been on vacation and mix of vacation and volleyball this past week, as a lot of you may have seen. I did try to do a couple posts while I was out. But it's always good to be back. It's good to be back. It's amazing how when you're on a trip and there's so many things going on each day, time goes at a different pace than when you're at home. Sometimes you're at home, everything's just sort of like a routine, and the day just kind of starts and goes, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, that day went by quick. And when you're on a trip and away from your usual routines, it's amazing how things are more hectic, but they go slower. It's hard to explain, but I feel like I've been gone about a week, and it feels like a month, just the way it has been, because every day was so eventful. So thank you guys for those of you who are tuning in right now, like Big Justin S, a person, Tyler Parcher, what's up? We did a long walk today too as well. Good for you. Hippie, SpongeBob, Jordan, go crazy. Amanda, thank you. It's good to be back. Doing this, I don't think I've done a sunset walk yet. So currently I'm here with Vanessa. Vanessa's back at home just resting. She's got another tournament tomorrow early, so giving her a day to kind of just chill and catch up on sleep. It has been quite the whirlwind since we left. Sophie right now is in Hawaii with her mom, preparing to do a volleyball scouting combine in Honolulu, in hopes that maybe she might make some connections with some potential schools. So we'll see. Hopefully she does well. We're doing that in about an hour or so. Hawaii is 2 hours behind us, so it'll be 5 o'clock over there, 7 o'clock here. But anyway, let's see, what's been going on? Boy, so much feels like it's been going on in the world since I left. Russia invaded Ukraine. That craziness has been going on. It got really cold up here. I started hearing about all the snow we were having and sub-freezing temperatures. I thought that was all behind us. And even as we speak right now, it's not freezing, but definitely colder than when I left. But it hasn't really been that warm where we went to. Even down in California, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was like a high of 50, low of 39 or something like that, when it had just been in the 80s or so a week ago. So weather's been definitely a little bit crazy in the last week or so. But this trip, I got to tell you, this trip was quite the adventure. It was actually amazing that the thing even turned out, because it looked like a perfectly laid out plan. It almost completely fell apart, and then more or less kind of came back together. But during the past week, I was dealing with this Microsoft hack, which still being processed. Being gone didn't help, because I didn't have time to really address it and get back with some follow-up information I needed to. So I still don't have my Xbox account. I still don't have my Microsoft account settled yet, but I think by tomorrow it may be. We'll see. Finally, I was able to respond to some things I had to get it going. But as of right now, I still don't have an account current, but hopefully tomorrow we'll get some good news. So this trip, let me just tell you the adventure of how this week transpired. So a week gone, the plan was, had a 3-day tournament in Las Vegas. So our original plan was we were going to fly, and as you know, my wife works for Delta Airlines, so we fly standby quite often. Standby is great because you can fly at very low cost, sometimes completely for free. The drawback is you are what's called a non-rev passenger. Non-rev means non-revenue, you're not paying. However, you are at the mercy of space available on the plane. So if you have to really get someplace and there's no room, or they oversell the plane, there's no seats, you get bumped. Meaning you get bumped to another flight or you don't go at all. You got to figure out alternate plans. So that's the life of a standby passenger. In this case, me and Vanessa had to get to Vegas. The plan was we were going to fly standby to Vegas. After the end of the tournament, we'd fly over to Anaheim, go to Disney for a day or two, and then either fly home or meet my other daughter and wife in Hawaii for the combine. So everything looked good on the plan, and we're all set to make that happen. And then the first wrinkle that happened was the flight to Las Vegas got oversold. That's first hurdle number one. So right away, it's like, okay, darn it, knew this could happen. A lot of people flying in for the weekend because it's always busy on weekends for Vegas, but particularly this volleyball tournament, there's hundreds of players flying in from all over the country. We knew we'd be up against it. So not a complete surprise that it happened. But we thought, okay, we're still going to do the Disney thing. Let's just do this. We'll fly into Anaheim, rent a car there, drive to Vegas, do our tournament, drive back to Anaheim, which is where Disneyland is located, and everything else will play out the same. So my next step was to reserve the vehicle to drive from Anaheim to Vegas and back. Well, because it was within a day of the trip, I was kind of stuck with having to commit to getting the vehicle, meaning I couldn't change it once I booked it. So I booked the vehicle. It was pretty cool. The only one available that I found through the online reservation was the Mustang convertible, which is what we ended up securing. And that was set. But then the next problem was the flights to Anaheim got filled up. So not only could I not fly to Vegas, or we couldn't fly to Vegas, we couldn't fly into Anaheim. So to complicate matters, we were stuck now with this Anaheim rental car. Getting cold out here. And now I got this rental car, which I couldn't cancel because if I canceled it, they would have charged me $300. It's a $400 rental, $100 a day. So I was on the hook for $300. And now I didn't have a way to fly into Anaheim, where I had to pick up the vehicle from. So I tried to see, well, maybe we could fly into LAX, which is a little bit further away, another hour away. If I can get the car from there instead, maybe I could pick it up from LAX, drive it to Anaheim, or drive it to Vegas, and then back to Anaheim. But to do that, they were going to charge me over $1,000 to get a car to pick up in LAX. That wasn't going to work. Then, on top of that, these passes, which I thought we still had a day left on these tickets to Disneyland, turned out to have expired. And so I was frantically looking to try to book 2 more tickets for Disneyland. And so on top of that, I couldn't reserve the spots. It said they were full. The reservations for the date we were looking at, Tuesday and Wednesday, were sold out. The reservation system said no tickets available. So now this whole thing is falling apart before my eyes. We got no flight into California or Vegas. I got a rental car I got to rent from Anaheim and back with no Disneyland ticket. So what's the point of even going to Anaheim if you're not going to go to Disneyland? There's nothing else there. All the fun stuff is in LA. So everything's a mess. I'm stressed out. We're less than 12 hours away from flying, and we don't even know how we're going to get down there for this tournament that would be taking place the next day. So I was quite frazzled with the way things were going. But by some stroke of luck, and I don't know, sometimes I feel like the standby or the travel gods are looking after us. What happened was, by some miracle, the plane that was supposed to go from Seattle to Anaheim that was sold out had a mechanical, and they had to replace it with a different plane. And that plane had 60 more seats than the previously scheduled plane, thus allowing a whole bunch of other standby passengers, including me and Vanessa, to be able to get seats on that plane. So all of a sudden, we're back to getting to Anaheim. So problem solved there. We could fly to Anaheim, rent the car, which I was on the hook for. But now the issue was I still didn't have Disney tickets. So what are we going to do after we get back to Anaheim from Vegas? We got no Disney tickets. How am I going to get to something else to turn the car in? But we proceeded with the plan without really knowing what we were going to do once we got back to California. And then my wife double checked the Disney stuff, and somehow, I don't know what she did, something changed, or if I did something wrong, but whatever she did, she was able to go on the Disneyland website, found a couple of reservations open for us, grabbed the tickets, and so the whole thing fell back into place. So Disney was back intact, flights going down were intact, hotel was set, so everything worked out pretty good. So it went from crazy, what the heck are we going to do, to all kind of fall into place, all in the final hour. So good work by my wife getting stuff set, and a little bit of luck, a lot of luck. And like I said, football and life in general, I do think sometimes you just got to be a little lucky. It's getting dark. I didn't think it was going to get that dark so quick, but I'm going to be walking in the dark here, which is probably not the most smartest thing, to be in the woods when it gets really dark. And hopefully it won't get that dark in the next 30 minutes, and I'll be out of here before it's witching hour in the woods. It could be kind of cool though. Anyway, so we had a great time. The tournament was a lot of fun. They ended up getting into the silver bracket of the toughest division, silver being the second level. We were trying to get, everyone tries to get into the gold, that's like the top level. Made it to the silver division, silver bracket. They won the first playoff game, and then the semifinal before the championship, they ended up losing, falling one game short, one match short of the championship. Could have won it. It was close. We actually had game point or set point in the first match and first game, and lost it. Second was close as well, and just couldn't quite pull it off. But you know, that's sports for you. But we had a good time. It was fun. We drove back to Anaheim, and then it was Disney for 2 days. We met our neighbor Kira and her sister Bridget, who had just happened to be vacationing down in California as well. So I spent a day with them, and a lot of fun. But the evening was cold. Not only was it cold, but it actually started raining. It was raining in Anaheim in Disneyland. And let me tell you, I've been to Disneyland a lot. Over the years, I can't count how many times I've been down there for someone who doesn't live down there. Been there quite a bit. And I'd never once had it rain while I was at Disneyland. That was the first time. I mean, it was a cold rain. It wasn't like your tropical rain where you just sort of have a quick warm shower and it goes away. No, this thing was windy, it was cold. It felt like rain from the Pacific Northwest. But we still had a good time. Second day, we actually had Sophie come down and meet us. And so we spent Disneyland a second day with her, and it turns out, excuse me, that her best friends were also down there at the same time, along with a classmate from high school. So we had to hang out with them during the day on the second day at Disney, and that was a blast. So both girls got to spend time with some of their friends. 2 quick days, but packed in a lot, and we had a good time. Very fun trip. But we were definitely beat at the end of it. You forget how much these amusement park trips are. I don't know what it is, but you get to a certain point in the day where your feet are just hurting. I mean, aching sore. Your heels feel like they have a headache in them, and you just want to sit. And even when you sit, your feet still hurt. It's just like this constant throbbing pain. So if you ever go down to these parks, you can spend a long time there. Make sure you have good shoes, because that is one thing. You don't realize how uncomfortable your shoes are until you've been on them for like 12 hours at a park. But not to complain. Did have a great time. Really enjoyed it. And I went on some really fun rides, most of which I've already done before, but a few that I hadn't done either in a long time or maybe only once. Probably post some more videos of it. You might have seen some of them. Rise of the Resistance, the Star Wars ride, and Galaxy's Edge. Still my favorite ride. You can actually see almost the whole thing in my video. But so cool. Such a cool experience. One of the most unique rides I've ever been on. It's hard to compare to anything because there really is no other ride like it. It's like a combination of different rides, you know. Doggy. But yeah, it's like a combination of several rides in one. That's what makes it cool. But what other cool one? Space Mountain, hadn't been on that in a while. That was fun. What used to be the California Screamin' roller coaster in California Adventure, now called the Incredicoaster, based on the Incredibles movie. And that's some high velocity, looping, good stuff. I tell you, man, I'm not the kind that can handle a whole lot of those rides. I get motion sickness pretty easy. And none of these ever got me to the point of throwing up or anything. But for me, it's like I get to a point where at the end of the ride, I'm about at the threshold where I'm thinking, please, God, make this thing end now, because I don't think I can take another second of this. And usually that's where it ends. And if I had to go on it like immediately again, I'm sure I'd lose my whatever was contents was left in my stomach. But yeah, that was great though. So much fun. We don't get the opportunity to do this very much. Whoa, what the heck? Am I reading this right? Super chat? Is this $100 super chat? What? From Seahawks Disney discount. Super chatted $100. Are you kidding me? Seahawks. Whoa. Thank you. That is awesome, man. Thank you so much. Wow. I don't know if I've ever gotten a $100 super chat. I think maybe once before I've gotten one. That's amazing. Seahawks, whoever you are, thank you for your donation, man. That is awesome. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Lena says thank you on my behalf. Thank you very much. I hope you're a Disney and Seahawks fan. I did see a few Seahawks fans down there walking around. Tried to, give a little Seahawks love, little Seahawks. And they're all right. Whew. It says cold. Make my nose run. Clear skies up there, meaning the temperature's that much more crisp. Thank you with a smiley face. You're awesome. Thank you for just being here and for watching. And Alina adds to that, for the barf bags on your next trip, LOL. I don't like to throw up. Okay. I just can't do it. So I'm glad. There's certain rides I would automatically throw up on. Anything that spins in a circle repeatedly would mess me up badly. I actually went on I think on that same trip, the last time I went on that coaster, we went on the Ferris wheel. It's right by that same coaster I was telling you about. And they have two types of cages you can go into. One that just sort of goes around, is pretty fixed. And there's the one that's on a rail that kind of slides and sways as the whole thing's going around. I don't know if I explained it very well, but one's fixed, one moves around and swings. Well, I went on that the swaying one, and I thought, I'll be fine. This is a Ferris wheel. Everybody can do a Ferris wheel. Oh my God, I was so sick on that thing. I don't know if it was just the swinging action or what, but I was miserable. I was so close to throwing up on that thing. It couldn't end soon enough. But yeah, it was terrible. So luckily I didn't have any of those experiences, but other highlights from the park were, Vanessa's favorite was the Guardians of the Galaxy, formerly known as the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, which they still have that in Disney World. The one's pretty much just a vertical drop type of ride. In this case, it shoots you up, drops you down, shoots you back up, drops you down several times, and you have different screens that you watch as you do these different ups and downs. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And again, it gets to a point where at the end I'm going, oh, please be done. And then it ends. The merciful end. That's a lot of fun. Then the Matterhorn, the classic Matterhorn coaster. I like that one. It's nice and easy, not too intense. Same with the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. That's also another coaster that, again, if you don't want the super intense kind like they have at Six Flags and things like that, it's perfect. Nice, mild, little fun roller coaster that doesn't get you sick. With good little entertainment along the way. Still can't get over that $100 super chat. Out of the blue. When I think anybody was barely even watching this thing. All right, making the turn here as I approach the last stretch of the woods. Looks like I'll be fine. Anthony D, what's up? Pray for the people trying to survive in the war in Ukraine. Yeah, I know. That started happening when I was down there. All I could do is read, updates and quick little headlines. But we saw this brewing for a while. Man, that's crazy. We haven't had something like this happen in a while. Who knows how long this is going to last, what the impact's going to be, what's our involvement, what are the ramifications from an economic standpoint, political standpoint, how involved are we going to get, will it stop at Ukraine, could it potentially affect or go into other NATO ally countries? We could potentially be looking at the start of, I hate to say it, but you know what I mean, multiple countries in a global conflict means only one thing. But let's just hope it doesn't come to that. But it's good to hear from you, Anthony D. Alina, so my favorite was an Enchanted Park. You sat across from a person and you would go in a circle. When you hit the brake, you would start rolling all the way around going in a circle. I rode 5 times in a row. Woo, sounds like hell. I think sometimes if I were to pick the worst possible ride, that would definitely make me throw up. And they said, you have to ride this 100 times in a row. You'll be puking your guts out for sure. But when you're all said and done, we're going to give you $10,000. I'd have to seriously think about it. Would it be worth the misery of having to endure that torture for that long of a time? I don't know if any amount of money is worth it. How far would you go to win the money? Crazy. Knock on wood, says Seahawks. Alina, no political talk, automatic timeout. Yeah, I'll keep it generic. I'm not getting into politics of what we should or ought to do or not to do. That's for somewhere else. But I think we can all agree we'd rather not have to have warring conflicts out there. It's always going to be a bad situation. So I'm emerging out of the woods, the area below the power lines. But hope everybody else is doing good. Hope you guys are been having a good week. Some of you may be also on midwinter break. That's what my kids have been on. So no school this week. That's why we were taking this trip. School kicks back in on Monday. And that's we're not looking forward to getting back into that. But at least you still has a weekend off before we get back into it. Beautiful sunset over the horizon coming up. Maybe I'll get a good view of it when I come out the other side. It's dropping fast though, past the golden hour. Quick update on my dad. Saw him yesterday. Had me over for a little meal, a little catch up since I haven't seen him in a week. And I don't know if you guys might have heard my last, I think I did a video about it when we left on our trip a week ago, but my dad went in for his appointment, like a checkup with his regular doctor, and he found something strange with his heart beat and decided to do an EKG. And he was very concerned with what he was finding and told my dad he could be having a heart attack and rushed him to Valley Medical again, where he had been for the past 3 weeks, via ambulance because they didn't want to take any chances. I heard this from my sister first, via text, talked to my mom, finally got to talk to my dad. It was all during the drive over from California to Vegas. And he sounded fine. He was like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. I feel fine. I think we'll see what it is, but don't worry. So he was very reassured in his tone. But anytime you hear the word heart attack mentioned anytime, of course, you get a little freaked out. So as it turns out, what it was they did a test and a scan and found a blood clot in his lung. And that's what was causing the irregularity in the heartbeat. So they put him on some blood thinners and released him that evening back to home. So fortunately, it was not a serious deal, or maybe it could have been serious, but they caught it. It's a good thing they caught it when they did, before it could have become something serious. And he's been good since. So saw him yesterday, looked good. He is sounding good. Oxygen's been no problem. And there's a pretty sunset coming up. Almost there. To the top of the first hill anyway. And yeah, he was, things have been progressing well with his therapy and things like that. He's still not walking yet on his own. I think he probably could if he really wanted to, but the therapists are all trying to take their time, not rush things. So, patience, slow, steady progress is the key. I'm going to show you this. This is pretty beautiful right here. Check it out. What do you think about that? Not bad. Camera doesn't do it justice, but it is a gorgeous thing here. Sunset over the Olympic Mountains on the west side of the state. A little bit of cloud covering just to give some texture. But yes, who was saying Donnie Pearson did the orchestral mock-up of the Ukraine national anthem. That's cool. I mean, it's blood in the lung. Yes, I'm glad they caught it. Yeah, it's a blood clot. And, it's just one of those things that, there's a lot of inflammation that's been going on there for the past month. And that is blood going to that area. That's what's causing the inflammation. It's blood flowing to that area. And, for whatever reason, some clotting occurred there. And just had to thin it out. So, to be good. My dad's been really loving HBO Max. Kind of hooked up on that before I left. And he's been big time. He had been binge watching Game of Thrones. Got through the whole thing, actually. I mean, he got it done in like 2 weeks. An entire 8 seasons. I couldn't believe it. So that was pretty awesome. Hello. So maybe actually want to watch it too. I started watching a few episodes with him. I was like, oh, I forgot how good this was. So I think I'll watch some of this. So I've been binge watching, not in the normal sense of sitting down and watching it, on the couch in front of the TV. You ever do that kind of, I call it laundry watching. It's the kind where you either maybe you have it on your phone or you have it on, but you're sort of doing other things while you're watching. Yeah. When you've watched the show already and you're not really having to pay attention to every little detail because you've already seen it, you're just kind of reliving it for certain moments in the show. Yeah, you can fold laundry while you're watching it, or work on your computer, do bills while you got it on in the background or on a second screen, that sort of thing. So, so I've been doing that and binge watched it myself over the last couple of weeks, and man, it's a good show. So I watched it with my kids actually, and we haven't been able to watch it together. It's the hard part nowadays. Is don't have a lot of free time, and it's getting dark. Don't have a lot of free time to watch too many shows together. Normally we would have during the vacation, but since we were gone during vacation, obviously didn't have that time. So yeah, it's tough now. that's one thing I did enjoy about, while there wasn't a lot to like about the 2020 year, the first year of COVID, the lockdown and everything being shut down, being stuck at home, what I did enjoy about that and what I miss about it was all the fun time we had as a family at home. We did so many things that we hadn't done in so long because we just don't have the time for, like playing card games, playing board games, watching movies, watching TV shows. I mean, that was like a nightly activity, and with no sports, no school to go to, except online. It was fun to slow life down for a good year or so. And in some ways, I kind of miss it. I kind of miss the quality time of just chilling out and not being on the high speed conveyor belt that life is. Hey, Anthony D, MVP member. Yeah, I really do hope the war in Ukraine will have an accepting ending for everybody. Anyway, haven't worked on my script for almost a month. I'm getting back to writing it. How's my second draft so far? Stay safe. Yeah, I don't know. I owe you some stuff, man. Which I'm not going to keep making promises, but it is something I still intend to get to. One more time, looking at this beautiful sunset as it continues to sink. That actually looks even better on camera right now because the orange is actually more deeper on camera than in real life. That actually picture does kind of do it justice. And look, I didn't get mauled by any bears, cougars, or coyotes or anything while I was out here. So, but keep up with it, Anthony D. But, like I was saying, I miss the slowed down pace of life that we had. And there's just no way we could go back to that now. I mean, life is back to where it was. At least the kids' lives are. They're back to practices, school at 6 in the, getting up at 6:30 in the morning. I didn't miss that. When they were in online school, one of the nice things is they could just wake up at 8:29, roll over, turn on their laptop, and be in class by 8:30. And my kids did pretty well. I know a lot of people struggle with it, but my kids actually enjoyed online school, mostly from that aspect of not having to get up so early and rush and do all that stuff. So I do miss the calmness, the closeness, and just the slowed down pace of life that was for that year from 2020 to 2021. But we're kind of going back to more and more to normal. I know that the mask mandates have been being lessened all around the country and pretty soon here in Washington as well. Hey, Seahawks has joined the NorbFam MVP level. Thank you, Seahawks, man. I don't know who this is. I'm very curious to know if this is someone who I've connected with before or is just new to my channel. But I'm hoping to find out a little bit more who the mysterious Seahawks person is who's just joined and was so generous in the donation. Seahawks is such a generic name. I don't recognize who you are, but I'm sure I will find out. Says, LOL. Alina says, just like people struggling to work at home, some just cannot handle it. But I tell you, the work from home thing it's really, because of COVID, it's really revolutionized a lot of the way people do business. And just the companies we work for, they have gone to this remote workplace thing. And when it came back to normal, they realized, wow, this is actually working out pretty good. We don't even have to have people in offices. So I see these buildings now that used to be packed with people. And now they don't. It's like work is restored, but they need to bring people back. And it's amazing. Now people can work from other parts of the state, other parts of the country, and never have to actually be at the actual workplace. which is pretty remarkable, really, when you think about it. David wants to know is my dad home? Yeah, my dad's been home. He was only in the emergency room last Friday for just the afternoon, and then they released him. So luckily he was able to go back home out of danger pretty quick. Lena says, I'm still going to wear my mask. I don't want to take any chance my immune system is gone. Yeah. Hey, Tyler Partridge says, dinner tonight is Taco Friday. You know what's funny? I just had tacos. Got home. I haven't really had a chance to go any shopping or anything, so it's just like eating all these leftover stuff. So I whipped together some leftover, some whipped up tacos from it. And I'll do some shopping probably over the weekend and start picking some stuff up. Seahawks said, he said, my username was generic. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like your username. I think it's great. It just doesn't tell me much about you. Unlike the Alina Dolls and the David Gribbs and Anthony D's, who I know by name who they are. Seahawks doesn't tell me much about you. It's very mysterious. But he says he's going to unsub and join back in with a different username. That's cool. Benjamin, we got a Rams fan in the house here. World champs, baby, he says. Well, congratulations. What more can I say? I was rooting against you guys all the way. Somehow you guys pulled it off. I was actually watching on YouTube the ending of that Buccaneers-Rams game. As much as that gave me great joy to watch Tom Brady go down, little did I know at that time that was going to potentially be the game that launched the Rams to ultimately win the Super Bowl. And I started asking myself, was I happier with that? I was happy at the moment, but if I knew that they would go all the way and win the championship, the Super Bowl, but I still have rooted for them at that time, or would I have rooted for Brady to knock the Rams off? I don't know. It's hard to say, because I didn't want to see Brady succeed again at the same time. Hate to see your division rival win, but that's what happened. Seahawks, I think I've had this username for 8 years. Well, I'd hate for you to change it. I probably have seen you before, but again, Seahawks is just not one that stands out in a way where you go, oh, I remember that guy Seahawks, because I know there's a lot of Seahawks reference names out there, but you don't need to change them. I know who you are now, so I'll remember it. Seahawks, I bet on the Rams. Well, I hope they don't repeat. That's all I have to say about that. 12th Man says, do you ever think these games are rigged? Well, I would say, and I still say, that I don't think the games are rigged. Not from a standpoint where some people think it's a big conspiracy that the NFL has a whole master plan and everybody's carrying out this secret plan to have the results turn out the way they're supposed to. There's no way some of these things happened the way they did and everybody was in on it. That's just impossible. Alina says, I asked the refs, LOL. But I was going to say, in light of the lawsuit, and I don't even know where the status of that lawsuit is, with Brian Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins, saying that he was paid to actually lose games, and then the former coach of the Browns saying he was incentivized to lose. Well, if there's any truth to that, that means, well, maybe a couple of people might have been in on trying to change the outcome of a game. But I don't believe that the NFL as a whole is rigged, as in the commissioner tells everybody, okay, you guys need to, whatever you do, Rams, you have to win this game, and Bucks, you got to lose this game. Because if they actually all fix their games to attempting to make a certain result happen, no, not with, 2 teams worth of, what's the roster? 53-man roster plus a whole bunch of other guys. I mean, you have to have over 100 people on each team all in on this dirty little secret, and everybody keeps it, and nobody ever spills the beans that, yeah, it's true, I was supposed to fumble the ball so that the other team would win. I mean, there's no way. You would see it. You would see the evidence if that was the case. Now, I still do agree that you could have a ref or you could have a coach, if he was intent on trying to lose, he could set things up with his own team to try to make it to where they most likely would lose a game. For example, going for it in a bad situation, or you know, um, putting in certain personnel at certain times, knowing that that's probably going to be a less likely successful situation. Now, of course, the refs have tons of abilities to change the game. One call, again, the Super Bowl, there's a lot of holding calls, a lot of pass interference at the end of that game, but none of them were without merit, right? You just can't call holding when it didn't exist. Although Super Bowl 40, there were some phantom calls that made absolutely no sense. That that game may have been, who knows, incentivized to go a certain way. But to think that the entire NFL is rigged, no. Part of me also doesn't want to believe it, because imagine if you did discover that that game, something that you love so much, the whole thing was really a big lie, that it truly was not what you thought it was, that the game isn't being played truthfully and honestly, and the players aren't doing their 100%, or that they're not trying their best to win because they're actually trying to set a certain outcome. And that'd be pretty horrible. I refuse to believe that that's the situation. But all the more reason why I think you can't afford to is because now that gambling is legal on it, you got people betting tons of money on these games. And if the integrity of the game were to go south with people betting on money on the line, I mean, that would destroy the entire infrastructure of the gambling business. So Benjamin says, Rosemary's going to do my live. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Super Bowl 40. Hermes Gonzalez, only refs can rig games by bad calls. They do have a lot of influence, obviously, on the game. You can call holding on almost any game or not call it. Benjamin says, Norb, you should love the Rams. We're the ones that sent Brady to retirement. He was going to retire soon anyway. But yeah, it's a question of, would you rather see Brady retire winning again or losing the way he did? Or will he still come back? Benjamin also sent Garoppolo to Cancun. Well, there's always something out there. It could be pointed to as what was that all about? Lena, I really don't like it when there's a corporate crowd at the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 48 was the first time there was a true crowd at the stadium. I agree. 12s were well represented, loud in that game. Seahawks, Steelers, LOL. Brady says he's not really permanently retiring. We'll see. I want the ball and I'm going to win. You want the ball, we're going to score. 12th man, I really think Brady will come back. I can see the temptation for Brady to want to come back. I mean, that was a crappy way. If you're a Brady and a Bucks, if you're Brady and you're a Bucks fan, that's a pretty horrible way to go out, isn't it? I mean, you basically had a chance to come back, have another comeback for the ages, only to have the defense give up a horrible play and have the Rams steal the win against you. It's pretty tough to live with that one, but we'll find out. Tyler Parch says Safeway shopping live stream. Is that Tyler doing a live stream? Nice. And which team will he come back to? It's going to be like the Favre thing all over again. That Favre went to two different teams after he left the Packers. He went to the Vikings and the Jets, wasn't it? We'll see what happens. Will he do a 3-for-2? 3-for as well, I should say. Will he go to another team and do one of those 3-part team things? We'll find out. But I want you to. Oh, he wants me to do a Safeway shopping stream. Okay, well, yeah, I might consider doing that. Could be interesting, or maybe not. Seahawks want to see Brady on a mediocre team. All right. Well, I'm home. Gonna turn and do some stuff, but I was glad to at least talk to some of you guys out there. And again, thank you, Seahawks, newest NorbFam MVP member, and again for the very generous super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Lena says, Norb, with your hat, you look like a Teletubby. Thanks. That's the first time I've ever been called that. On that note, see you guys later. Have a great weekend. Talk to you then. Go Hawks.